Welcome, everybody, to episode 86 of UnHacked. Guys, I think I rattled on myself last week. I have to do it again. I still have not changed the spelling error in our intro. God damn it. Maybe we should just change the word. It's what everybody else is doing these days. The English language has gotten so corrupt. We just abbreviate. We spell what we want. We say what we want. Fuck it. That's how you spell sentence now. Beautiful. That's today's episode.
I'm on board.
Okay.
Yep.
I looked at it as it played. Actually, I'm still like, are you sure that's wrong? I really don't know. English was not my strong point in our public school system. You'll be shocked to know that I loved computer class and I loved physics and chemistry. Actually, I hated chemistry. Anyways, I don't know why I'm talking about that. This is UnHacked. You liked chemistry?
I did.
Okay, well,
I hated biology though.
Yeah. Bryan, I guess we're going here. What was your least favorite subject in school?
My favorite was computer class, and my least favorite was probably English.
Yeah, see? It is interesting how the brain works. Oh, yeah, because you're Canadian, eh? It was always...
I'm also Fringlish, so, there's that.
I don't hire developers anymore. We're going to talk about that. But it used to be something that I would always talk about. If you want an in-house web developer, and this is back in the day when humans did it, you had to get two. It was very rare to find one person who could build the user interface and make it look good, and somebody who could engineer the behind the scenes what happened. Those are two very different brains. And yeah, I mean, like pretty much you get an IT guy, they're somewhere on the spectrum. And B, they did not do well in English and history and stuff like that. Social studies, gross. All right, so now that
human interaction.
Yeah, all right. Oh, I used to love my former office. It had 4 concrete walls. They weren't really concrete, but that's what I said about them. No windows. There was one door, and it was usually locked. And I would have a sign outside saying, "Don't come in unless the place is on fire." And I would get so much done. Anyways, now circumstances are a little bit different. So I have to find different ways of being productive. And that's not what we're talking about today. Today is episode 12. And we're skipping introductions because listening audience, if you don't know who we are by now, I don't know what to tell you. We'll remedy that by the end. I have a couple of huge announcements coming that I'm really excited about. Stay till the end because I'm not going to tell you now in hopes that you'll listen to the entire episode. Guys, today's episode 12 in our mini series of the Cybersecurity Basics. It's episode 86 overall. And we are going to talk about the most exciting, entertaining subject, especially for guys wired like us. Policies, incident response plans, procedures, culture, all that kind of stuff. Tell me you're not excited right now.
I'm real excited.
I can tell.
I'm going to be honest and say I've been yawning for the past little bit.
All right. So I'm
funny because these are the things I hire for.
Right. And I've been sitting around for a week now, dreading this upcoming episode and thinking, not that I do enjoy this. I went to flight school. God, we're on tangent day. There's no script today. We're just winging it. I went to flight school. I was going to be an airline pilot. I flew emergency. Oh God, I can't even say air ambulance. There we go. Fixed wing air ambulance pilot. I got that far, but I never got to the airlines. Anyways, in flight school, one of the things we had to do is get very good at the regulations. And I mean, we're talking a book of 1,000 pages. It was, and we'd kind of call it the Bible, and we'd call it Bible bashing or whatever. We'd debate over these regulations. I loved that. I actually loved that. I think in a different life, if I could get through all the schooling, I might be an attorney. So this is a subject I actually do enjoy, but I could not for the life of me figure out how to make a podcast about it that wouldn't keep like just all of our listeners just click off. Our numbers have been going up. I'm super excited about that. I'm like, how do we not destroy the momentum if we're going to talk about policies and procedures? Guys, do you have any thoughts immediately off the top of your head?
Okay, so have the policies and procedures, end of episode.
Pretty much.
No.
Pretty much. So we are going to talk today about a little bit about what they are, how to get them, what to do with them once you have them, but we're going to keep that pretty short. And then we're going to dig into some, like I said, I've got some announcements coming, and we're going to talk about that. So number one, pop quiz, what policies and procedures are the most important if you just had to pick your top three? And you can only do one at a time because there's three of us. Bryan, go. What's your top policy or procedure that you think you and or your clients should have in place if you had nothing else?
If we're talking about today,
yep,
that would be the first and foremost today, in my opinion, would be an AI policy.
Okay.
Having some rules and regulations in your organizations to tell people what they can and can't do with AI, what AIs they're allowed to use, what AIs they're not allowed to use, to prevent people from going rogue and using public AIs that they're not paying for and exposing all sorts of stuff to the world that they're not supposed to. The second one would be an acceptable use policy. That's pretty straightforward. And then the last would be probably not an actual, not an actual policy for your end users, but a policy that you yourself follow on what are the things you're going to be taking care of within your business, right? Like from a technology perspective, because the reality is all the tools we put in place, those don't stop breaches. Behavior does. So what behaviors are we going to require of either our IT department or our IT companies to make sure that our businesses stay safe?
All right. And since Bryan answered for all of us, Mario, do you have anything left since Bryan took all three of them?
You said three.
I know. I said one each. There's three of us. That's why nobody, our listening audience couldn't see how bad I was rolling my eyes. I'm just like, hoping that they could
AI was mine.
hear it over the microphone.
I mean, the only other thing that he didn't mention is probably an incident response plan in case, something does go wrong. You have an idea, we've talked about it a million times on the show, but in the event something bad does happen, you want to have a rule or guide of how to steer through it, because you're going to be panicking. You're not going to know what's going on. The whole place around you is going to be on fire. You need to be able to break out this plan. All right, this is step one. This is step two, step three.
Yeah, and more importantly, not if something happens, it's a matter of when, right? When something happens, because even if it's just a scare, you're going to have one. Who's responsible for communication? Who's the incident commander? Who's going to be responsible for actually informing the rest of the organization what's going on? Who's going to be the client liaison? And there's tons of different roles that have to be handled, and you want to know that in advance so you're not waiting until the last minute.
All right. So I'm going to only add, well, first of all, I was trying to Google it fast enough, and I wanted the number, how many policies and procedures do we really need to cover? But the problem is there's so many different frameworks. And then even within those, you can have one policy that meets 3 or 4 different controls. But there's a lot of them. There's more than 3 is what I was going to say. Templates alone, I think, it's dozens.
I'm in the process of building a policies platform for all our clients where they can easily go in there, and I have a bunch of templates. They could easily deploy it right to their tenant. And I think templates wise, I think we have 160, on there. Not everybody's going to use all of them, but they're there, and you can build your own. And now with AI, you really can just say, build me a policy on, MFA. It will build you a policy. It will build you whatever you need, really. But whatever it is, it's just a map of what you want the company to look like in the for rules and regulations for either your employees, or if something triggers this the event, what are the rules and regulations that you want to follow? That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
And I've got a couple of questions. One's kind of obvious. Why do we need these? But the second one is great. Let's say we buy into the fact that we need them. We go through the effort to build them. You've got 100 plus templates. It's really not that hard to build a policy. Then what? We've got 100 of them. Let's just say you've got 3 policies, which is where we started. How hard is it to actually educate on, hold accountability to, and build a culture around these policies? What are your thoughts there?
Well, that's going to have to start from the owner down. The owner really needs to, when you're hiring or when you've implemented it, you need to sit down with, your leads and all your employees and say, starting this day, we're going to be going through this, and everybody needs to, read it, understand it, ask some questions, and sometimes some policies need to be adjusted. Sometimes, you when you're putting it together or when you're reading it, it makes sense, but some employees may, read it and say, hey, this says this, but we haven't really been doing this. Can we maybe do, something else or whatever? Like if there's a work from home policy or whatever, it needs to be collaborated and checked on regularly.
Yeah. Bryan, you got thoughts on this?
The only thing I wanted to maybe add is that people are difficult, and we can put in all the protections in place, but really culture and accountability will fill the gaps that our software solutions can't. And so that's ultimately what policies are. They are the gaps. They are the areas where we can't protect using tools and or software. And so if you don't train your people on it, if you don't introduce them to policy, if you don't enforce the policies, then they mean nothing. And things will fall through the cracks. And they typically do. That's usually where breaches occur is in between, right? Mm-hmm. Where people were supposed to be the ones that intervened, or people were supposed to do something or not do something. That's where usually our breaches happen.
Yeah. So, like I said, I don't want to sit here and rattle off a list of all of them because there's so many. I want to talk briefly about the buy-in, getting people to actually do something with these, because the biggest problem that I see with policies and procedures is that they're created, maybe at best, actually usually not, but let's say they are thrown in an employee handbook of some sort, or in a big folder, so that when you bring somebody on, a new hire, you hand them this stack of probably hundreds of pages, and you say, read this, sign off that you agree, and then you can start training. Right? So you've got an employee under duress who has to, if he wants a paycheck, read and sign this stuff. And then that goes in a file and is never talked about again, unless maybe they did something wrong, at which point they pull it out and say, look, you did it wrong and you signed off on it. Let's talk about the problems here. or the solutions. Like, how do we do it better than that? Okay. Like practical advice. How do we do it better than that?
Okay, so one, a policy that nobody could read is not a very good policy at all. It has to be written in plain language. If it requires a lawyer to interpret your policy, it's not going to work. Policy needs to reflect what actually happens, not the idea scenario, right? So I've seen many policies written, and they're like 50 pages long, and you're like, what? Like all that to say, have a good password, right? A password policy should be less than 1 page. That's it. It really ought to be that simple, right? If your policies are starting to get to the point where you need a book to put them in, rejig. If people aren't reading them and people can't remember them. A really good test is if the average employee in your company can explain the policy in plain language, you've succeeded.
Okay.
Yeah. You're making me think with the policies portal that we're building, maybe we should have an audio option where they can listen to it or even watch a video on it.
a translate button that says, summarize this policy in 1 sentence.
Okay, so I was actually going to bring up, not that exactly, but where you're saying, if it sounds like an attorney wrote it, it's not effective. I would argue that you can have the policy written that way as long as you educate properly on what it actually means and how we enforce it, how we practice it. One of the things, so I am big on culture. I talk about it all the time. And one of the ways that I've established culture in my company is in our weekly meetings. We have 5 core values, and I would quiz my employees on that all the time. It would be, okay, what are our 5 core values? Number 1, Joe, go. Number 2, John, what is it? And they would have to recite them, number 1. So I knew that they knew what our company core values are. And then the question is, where have you seen that in action this week? It can be yourself, it can be another employee, but tell me where you've seen this company core value being lived. And so this was not a negative. It was absolutely, everybody calling each other out in a positive way. And you talk about building the right culture. That's the best way I've ever employed to educate and to motivate people, because there was no monetary reward. There's no gift card. It was just, hey, I saw John today treat a customer well, like they were one of our own family, and here's the situation, and that feels good. It feels good to say it. It feels good to be ratted on in that case. Night and day difference on company culture. Now, the next step is bringing some of this other stuff into it. If we want really to, let's talk about an acceptable use policy. Where do we see a threat? Where do we see somebody handling it properly? You can bring this into your company meetings, because the one thing I will say, Mario, you're like, we need an audio option. Sure. A video option. Sure. If you're going to do that, make them short, make them fun, make them entertaining. But even then, people don't want to sit down and watch training videos. It's really hard to get them to do that. So I would add to that, have them, but then have a way to actually engage in real life, face-to-face or Zoom or whatever we're doing these days, to educate on and build a culture around it, a true culture around it. You guys have thoughts on that?
No, I completely agree, and I think it's very smart.
Bryan, you used to do something similar, right? You'd have your little video clips. Do you still do stuff like that?
We occasionally do. I haven't done them in a while. It's something that we have to, because we went through a cycle of doing a bunch of different clips on different topics, and then we kind of ran out of topics, and we got to get some new ones. So definitely something I want to bring back. But what we kind of do something similar to what you just described. During our morning huddles, we hand out the goat of the day for the previous day. Whoever GOAT for us stands for like the greatest of all time, who improve themselves, become their own greatest of all time. And so we're calling out the positive aspects of what people have done throughout the previous day. And we even have the little goat that we hand out that we 3D printed. But going back to policies, I think there are 3 things that every policy should have that a lot of people forget about. And that is the policy. We already covered the first one, clarity. But the other 2 are often forgotten. One is that there has to be an owner. Somebody has to own that policy, and that person could be the one that's doing what Justin described, which is bringing it to the meetings and just making it fun. And the same person doesn't have to own all the policies, right? And the third piece is a review date, because every policy should be reviewed on a regular basis. I remember, and I'm going to rat on myself here. We, when AI first started coming out, created an internal AI policy, and it effectively said, don't use it, because we weren't sure what was going on, right? It was like, we haven't had time to review, so just don't use it. And it was never reviewed. And so that policy is technically still standing, but everybody uses AI at the company because we've issued AI accounts for people to use, that you're allowed to use this AI. So our policy has to be amended to be like, you're allowed to use it when we've given out the accounts, and here are the where you can, how you can use it. And so
that is one of the biggest burdens of these policies, is that they do have to be updated on a regular basis.
So clarity, ownership, and review date.
Because we all don't have enough to do. We got to add this onto our plates. Good times. You're welcome, listening audience. All right. So any other, and I am going to wrap this up as far, we're going to change subjects, change directions here, unless you guys have anything else you want to say on policies, incident response, maturity planning.
No. Have we touched on incident response? Because I think that was one of the topics we did want to cover more in depth, right?
Yeah, go ahead. What do you got? And no, we didn't. Like, we talk about it all the time, and we've given the example of the hotel that was so good at it and the other hotel that was terrible at it. But what do you got?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things that we touched on it briefly, having an incident response plan, so we're not panicking, right? The first 20 minutes of an incident is often, going to be the determination of what the outcome looks like. But an incident response plan, it's not for IT only, it's for the entire business. Like, everybody has to take part of it: operations, finance, HR, leadership, right? Most people don't realize that the incident response plan has that. But more importantly, an incident response plan should have a tabletop exercise done every once in a while to say, like, hey, let's pretend we've actually been in an incident. and let's go through it. Let's role play this and see what happens, right? To actually practice it and see what it looks like in real, like in not a real world scenario, but like a practice case scenario. So those would be a couple of things that would add into the incident response plan, so we don't run around panic when it does happen, because it will.
Well, and a lot of people think that an incident response plan is how we're getting technology back operational, and so that falls on the IT department. I don't need to worry about it. An incident response plan really should talk about how you're going to run your business until you get back to full operation. You should have a plan for everything that you do. How do you do it without technology? Or how do you notify people that you're not going to be able to do it? If you really can't, then there still needs to be a system to notify your customers what limitations there are. And
and it's easier to think about it when everything is operational and things are working.
Not panicking.
Then when a disaster does happen, well, how are we going to let all our customers know? If you've already thought about it when you are in the right state of mind, it's much easier. I always use this example when sitting with prospect. It's like what I do is think about it, like especially with the guys, like nothing is worse than that feeling when reaching in like your back pocket and you can't find your wallet. In the event that you lose your wallet, you need to sit there and remember what's in there that you have to contact, which credit card, what's the number, what's the phone number, what do you have in there that you need to replace? Oh, driver's license. Well, it's easier when you have everything there. You write down your driver's license information, your credit card, and what number you need to call. So that way, in that panic, when you can't find your wallet, you could always say, okay, I have a list of everything that was in there. This is what I need to do to cancel, because you're panicking, you're going to forget. And even when you realize I did forget it in the coffee shop or whatever, and you can't find it, it's gone. You're still trying to figure out what you need to do next. But if you have that planned out first, or when you still have it, it's easy peasy.
Yeah, that's bringing up a sore, like a little PTSD on my part. I lost not only my wallet, but my phone along with it at the same time while I was out of town, 1,000 miles from home. We won't talk about the story behind this, Bryan. Not one of my better moments, but I found myself with nothing, absolutely nothing. I couldn't even call an Uber. I don't know that I have a plan for that. If I have a plan to not get back in that situation, but a prevention plan. Anyways, you got a little personal there. Okay,
sorry.
Anything else, guys, that you want to talk about with these policies before we transition?
I wonder if there's any listeners left.
They've all gone. I told them at the beginning they had to stay till the end because there's good stuff coming. And this is going to be my transition. So I asked you guys about your two, if you had to pick one. Bryan, you gave us 3. Mario, you came in and you added a little to it. And I just realized I didn't even say mine. And I do have a favorite policy that I want to talk about. And that is called, it comes from, I think it's episode 27 with Joseph Brunsman, POAM, Plan of Action and Milestones. Now, because we talk about, guys, we're wrapping up 12 episodes. We're looking at, not each episode's an hour, so somewhere short of probably 10 hours of us talking about the basics. We're not even into advanced stuff right now. Just the basics. It's a lot. And so if as a business owner, I look at all this stuff and say, okay, I'm getting compliant, I'm getting secure, I'm locking it all down, and I'm doing it today. I'm doing it this week. I'm doing it this month. Fuck, if I'm doing it this year, I still am going to be overwhelmed. So you have to have a system for identifying what you have and what you don't have, the goalpost, and try to keep the goalpost from moving, but it probably will. And then you review that on a regular basis. You've got your gaps, your goals, and how you're going to get there. Plan of action with milestones. That to me is the most important document to have. If you have nothing else, write it down. I don't have anything, and here's my plan to get there. That's what I would say. Go ahead.
POAM though, like your plan of action of what you're going to be implementing upcoming protects you from people who from legal, not necessarily legal implications, but like from somebody saying you were completely incompetent and didn't do anything, to, you know what, they were moving towards a goal, and because it's such a big goal, you can't be done overnight. It will take time. Part of that plan should also include continuous improvement, right? Once you're done the plan, you start it back over again, and you're just constantly run through it over and over. Not obviously, that's not all you're doing, but you know, there is a time cycle where you're going, okay, we've already looked at everything we had, we've identified everything. Well, you know, 6 months down the road, a year down the road, what you had is no longer what you have. So you got to revise it and revise it and revise it. So this is a living, breathing document.
Correct.
It's a living, like all of this is living and breathing.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, if done, I want to say if done right. I don't know that there's a right way or a wrong way necessarily, because anything is better than nothing, and there is no such thing as perfect. But I would say that to do this in a way that is tangible and it's actionable, I like to have a score. I like to have, okay, where our target is 100. If we're just going by 100%, you know, percentage, then, and we're 20% there. All right, that ain't great, but it's something. And like, let's get to 30% by next month. And here's how we're going to do that.
So are you saying you need to get like 1% better every day?
1% better every day. Then you can have this in 100 days.
Yeah, it's like a journey or something, right?
Something like that. All right. So guys, here is my big announcement. As I was contemplating how to...
You don't have a drums...
I do, but I don't know which button it is. Wait, drum roll. Drum roll. I got it. We're going to make a free portal that will help you as a business owner track this stuff, and you can use this to implement it yourself if you want to. We'll have resources, we'll have how-to documents, we'll have, you know, checkboxes, and, you know, if you just want to use it to check in on the guy you're writing a check to, the company you're writing a check to, you can use that. And if you're an MSP or if you're an IT department or whatever, you can use it. So I'm going to, and Bryan kind of called me out on this before we started recording. No, I do not have it live today. I will have something up and running by this time next week, and it will be very basic. We will start very, very, very simple. But I am going to build this out to where it can be some version of a community where we're all helping each other. There's resources there. And we are going to have a POAM as part of this, where you can go through and kind of check off the stuff that you have in place, and it will grade you and it will give you a plan of what you need to do. So that is the big announcement, you know, because here's the thing. I'm watching, and I like to brag about it. I'm mostly joking, teasing, but I've got a little bit of an ego going on here. I love that our numbers are going up. I love that our subscribers are going up. No, we're not like Joe Rogan yet. We're coming. Yep. We're coming for you, Joe. But our numbers are going up exponentially when you look at the download graphs, when you look at subscribers on the various platforms, because we have a lot of them out there. We're picking up momentum, and I'm thrilled about that. And while, yes, I do want to get clients out of this podcast, I can tell you that there is no monetary compensation to this to date, which is fine, other than, you know, we all build trust and credibility by doing this. But I really do want to take it to a level where we are providing a free, valuable resource to the community. There will be no cost to this. Yes, you will have to give up some information because you'll have to log in if you're going to track your stuff, you know, like your company score. No, we will never sell your information. No, we will not market to you. But that is my commitment, is to build a resource where we can start truly giving something back to the community beyond just looking at our gorgeous faces and listening to our amazing voices. That's the goal.
But we will take on sponsors. If there's anybody out there that wants to take on some sponsors.
There we go.
Maybe wants to take us on.
Maybe we start doing some sponsorships. Kaseya, you guys interested in buying us? Oh God, I shouldn't have said that. That'll never happen. That is why my one promise: we will get so big that they will want us, and we will not sell to Kaseya. Now they're going to sue me because I said that. Bryan, do you have any thoughts on this other than I shouldn't have announced it until it was done?
My only thought is, if you're not gonna hop onto these free resources and take advantage of the fact that we're going to basically be giving you a plan, then stop listening today, because what's the point? No, don't stop listening.
How dare
Go download
you?
the plan.
What are you saying? Yeah, I'm cutting that shit out. That's not making it to the air.
Go download the plan. We're literally going to be giving you the step-by-step process on how to make this all happen. So
and
do it.
It is genuinely there's two purposes for this. Number one is, if you truly want to do some of this in-house, we're going to show you how to do it right and give you the tools to do it right. I don't advise it, but if that's where you're at least do something. But more importantly, and this comes because I've said this over and over, you guys agree, you've heard the same story. When you go talk to a prospect or a random business owner and you ask them what they're doing for cybersecurity, how their security posture is, we almost always get the same response. My IT guys got that covered. We're fine. We're good. I got a company for that, whatever. Press them for information and they don't have any. And so this is that information. This is where you can go in and you can score your IT department, your MSP, your in-house guy, whatever. You can score and you can find out if you are getting what you pay for. So you can hold accountability, you can do it yourself. And then, of course, if you do want to hire one of the three of us, sure, we're here. And yes, we would like to help you out and get paid for it. But that is not the primary purpose of this. So that's the big announcement. And like I said, Bryan, I will have something that people can log into by the time we record next week. Now, it might just be a login to go to a blank screen. I don't know. But I will at least have a live dashboard that they can log into with maybe some fake numbers. I don't know. We'll figure that out. This will be a work in progress. We'll develop it as we go. We'll talk about it. We'll give you updates. And that brings me to my second big announcement is for the next at least 12 weeks, we did a 12-week segment on security basics, which aren't very basic. Now we're going to do a 12-minute segment on AI. All right, because we skipped introductions today, but I usually start mine with, we like to help people use technology to make money and then protect that money from the bad guys. Now, we don't really talk about how to make money. So for the next 12 weeks, we are going to dig into how we can use technology, AI and otherwise, to help make money, to become more streamlined, to become more profitable. That's the next 12 weeks. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
It's about time. I mean,
it's so already excited about this part.
The world.
Yeah.
And Bryan, I have to tell you again, because as we were getting started, you're like, damn it, I haven't set up my, because we're all doing a little vibe coding, right? This is using AI to develop stuff. And Bryan's been dabbling, but he hasn't got it set up yet. I'm like, that's cool, Bryan. You can just be our B5 and after case, or B4. You told me B4 is copyrighted. So your B5
and B4 is copyrighted.
Before and after, B5 and after, whatever.
It's copyright. It's copywriting in Canada. In the U.S.
Oh, good point. We just won't air this in Canada. Anyways, so yeah, we're gonna, Bryan, we'll use you as a guinea pig. Mario's like the leader on this one, which is funny because I thought I was the leader at first, and then Mario caught wind of this, and he just like launched and left me in the dust. So I've got to up my game. But I will be developing this platform that I'm talking about with AI and talking about the lessons learned along the way. We will be talking about security. That is a major component of, properly using AI. And I think it's a great subject to introduce or to deep dive on here on UnHacked. So those are the two announcements, guys. I think I've beat this dead horse long enough. We're going to go ahead and move to wrap up it, but go around the room and we're going to just do final thoughts, closing arguments, key takeaways, anything that you want to add, anything that we missed. This is your time to say it. And then we're going to say goodbye and wrap up. And then next week we'll be live with a platform that you can log into and maybe see nothing. Bryan, what are your final thoughts?
Well, my final thoughts are this. I for the last, I don't know how long we've been doing this podcast for, a year and a half. I've been talking about letting us help you on your journey to become more secure and help you in your business and your journey on your with your business and implementing technology. This portal that we're planning on deploying is that journey basically mapped out for you. And so I'm pretty excited about it. When Justin mentioned it, it was something I was a little hesitant at first because announcing something we don't yet have is a little nerve-wracking, but at the same time, it's something that we've all been doing so much of. So the platform really itself is the small part. The content that's going to be in it is going to be the major part. And we already have all the content.
Right.
So.
Exactly. I mean, between the three of us, we have, 3/4 of a century worth of knowledge that we're going to be able to put into this system. Obviously not everything is going to be up in day one, but if you listen to our new upcoming mini series, we'll teach you how to do things a lot faster, using AI. And, I'm pretty sure this portal will also be put together using AI, just like
Of
everything
course.
else is
Of
now.
course. Yeah.
And, when you have the blueprints already done for you, and you pretty much have to go in there and just enter some final, some details, or customize it, make it your own. It makes it a lot better, because the hardest thing is really getting started, no matter what it is, exercising, dieting, starting up a company. I mean, I don't know about the first two, but, starting up a company, whatever it is, that first part is really the hardest. And we're going to take care of that for you guys. We're going to put you right there at the end of the mile marker, and all you have to do is log in and, just take what you want.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, I'm going to kind of echo what's already been said. This to me, maybe I'm overly excited. I don't. I have been agonizing. I will say this. I have been agonizing over a way to deliver more than we've done so far on the podcast. I love that we can educate people. The audience grows. I love when I go to conventions or something, and somebody will come up to me and say, "Hey, I see your podcast." I'm like, great, I'm famous. It's like for the four people that know us and watch. I've met all four of them. It's great. So I mean, and all I'm really saying is that I know there's a need. I know that people listen for a reason, and it's not because we're like so goddamn entertaining. I don't know, maybe that's part of it.
Speak for yourself.
But I've just thought, like, we've kind of plateaued on what we can deliver through this current strategy. And I know we needed something more, and I didn't know what it was. I went and I registered a Gmail address, unhacked@gmail.com, or I don't even know if that's right, because I've never used it. We've got a couple of Facebook pages out there. There's a Facebook page for Unhacked. I don't really use that. I kind of abandoned it. I don't know. I've just been dabbling with this and trying to figure it out. And so I am happy to have this. There's so much that I want to do with this. There's a whole segment we haven't even touched yet. I promise, I don't know if you guys remember back, Jocelyn, I don't remember her last name, and I hope I got her first name right. We had an episode on protecting the elderly. And I want to do a segment and have resources in the dashboard about the elderly. That is our highest downloaded episode, by the way. That is the one that drew the most attention over anything we've talked about. And so there's a need there, and resources that are needed. And I made a promise on the air that I was going to do something. But, ratting on myself, since it's been the theme this week, I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I'm going to do something, and it's going to be great. I just don't know what it is. So I am very passionate and excited about this, and I do promise to make it something that will be very, very valuable, very useful to the community. That is my commitment, and to make good on some promises that I've made in the past that haven't yet delivered on. So I cannot thank you, Bryan and Mario, enough for being a part of this. I did the one episode by myself just to see if I could do a podcast by myself. A, yes, I can. B, it isn't great. I need you guys here, so I really appreciate it. None of us are getting paid for this, so thank you sincerely with all my heart, you guys, for being here and giving your time, and audience, community. We are here because I'm not getting emotional. I swear I'm not. But we do care. And, we really do want to deliver value to, whether you're a client of ours or not. We all have things we give to our client to pay us. This is what we're giving away to people who do not pay us. So, Bryan, thank you. Go ahead and give us your goodbye. Mario, thank you as well. When Bryan's done with his long-winded goodbye, go ahead and give us yours, and then we're going to wrap up, and we're going to be done, and we will be back next week with the beginning of a new era. Bryan.
I'll keep it short and sweet. My name is Bryan Lashbrook with P4 Networks. Let us help you on your journey to becoming 1% better.
Mario.
Mario Zaki, CEO of Mastech IT, and we have been specializing in helping people have peace of mind, and we want to help you guys be able to sleep better, knowing that your company will be there tomorrow.
Excellent. And I am Justin Shelley, CEO of Phoenix IT Advisors. Remember, listen in, take action, log into the new portal, and keep your businesses unhacked.
Unhacked.
All right, guys. See you next week.
Cheers.